Welcome everyone to today's match. I am your play-by-play caster here, username underscore Intel here, joined by the one and only Golden Pants, who I haven't seen in a while, so it's great to be casting with you. And how are you doing today, as we are here to kind of talk over the Wisdom Academy versus Fortunate Sons match?
I'm doing amazing. I'm honored to be here. We're just going to ignore the fact that Fortunate Sons is spelled wrong in the lobby, but I am hyped for this game. I'm absolutely stoked. These teams are, well, they're equal in the standings. I'm not saying equal like, oh, somebody's got a map over somebody else. No, it's dead even. A 3-0 against Geo for both of them, and an 0-3 against Rio for both of them. Provided Wisdom had some players out when they lost 3-0 to Rio, and Fortunate Sons had a very good run against Geo last week, and that was a bit closer. But at the same time, these teams are dead even in the standings. Who do you think will win this match? Because it's going to be highly contested.
Personally, for me, I love Fortunate Sons to death. I was very much a big supporter of them, and I still give them some love every now and then. But Wisdom Academy, they just came off of a really bad week. They didn't look too great against Rio. However, coming into this next match, they now have Spongy Cheese and Roxcraft back, so I think they're pretty organized, and they look like they have a new fire. So Wisdom Academy is going to be able to take this. I expect Fortunate Sons maybe to put up a really good fight, but they don't have Maverick, and they've lost another player, so I'm gonna have to give it to Wisdom Academy.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. Even though Octo is out and he's an absolute star on that support role for Fortunate Sons, I gotta say, I really like how Fortunate Sons is looking. Yes, Rockcrafts is back. Yes, Spongy is back. But Intensu is going to be able to hold down the fort against Spongy. I trust him on that. And T-Fast, apparently the off-tank for Fortunate Sons, he's coming in. Wisdom has no knowledge of how he plays, so that could be a little bit, well, that could be a little bit of a sneaky little win, something that Fortunate Sons can potentially use to gain their victory. So I think it's going to be a 3-1 in favor of Fortunate Sons, even though Fortunate Sons mainly does run the double bubble dive comp. And, well, against Poke, where there's a pocketed Ash last week, the support line tended to just walk into sightlines. Hopefully that's been changed. Otherwise, Wisdom Academy and Spongy Cheese will definitely definitely win this one.
Completely agree, especially because we're starting out on Busan. So this is a very, I would say, brawl intensive map. We're not going to be seeing Fortunate Sons kind of run out on something different. I really expect them to try to be forced onto a composition, but we have heard they've been running some very specific compositions. So what do you really have to say for that?
Well, I want to say once again that Fortunate Sons have been running a lot of dive the past few weeks, and that's been their bread and butter. And Wisdom Academy, they've been playing a lot of Brawl. In that matchup, rock, paper, scissors, Brawl beats Dive, because if Dive just jumps onto Brawl, well, then Brawl is just going to say, great, you just put it directly into what we want to do. And luckily for Fortunate Sons, I've heard from Red Knight, if you watch the countdown, as you all should be doing, you're going to hear a lot of trash talk, and you're going to hear Red Knight saying that they have prepared a lot of Reinhardt comps, and they're looking to win this week. So Wisdom Academy not going to have much scouting potential against Fortunate Sons with two new people coming in and a brand new comp. And Fortunate Sons has a lot of info on Wisdom Academy already. How will that affect today's map? We just got to wait and see, especially if we go to downtown Busan where there might be dive ran.
Yep, I definitely agree. I'm more excited to see how we look at these teams try to run it out. I expect a bit of Doomfist, but more importantly, we're in a meta where hit scans are a lot lower. Where they're not very picked that often, and some people would even say that it is kind of a dead meta for them. I really expect to see a bit more Widowmaker or Kree, but I really want to see some Widow plays. I think, especially on downtown, these teams are going to want to run it out.
And if you're talking about projectile DPS, you cannot forget to mention Titanic. He's been a complete and utter menace on that projectile DPS role. We saw him a little while ago on Hitscan. That's not his wheelhouse. He did well. But at the same time, his projectile is an absolute legendary pick that anybody playing against him would be scared to encounter him on. And we are now entering game.
Unfortunately, though, we won't be seeing Titanic be playing. He has expressed his kind of distaste towards playing that role, at least right now. He's pretty much sticking onto the flex support role, like being a tired rat, you know?
I mean, mid-map swap potentially. You never really know. I mean, with
Yeah,
this
but
you probably do know, but
The real question is, where are these teams going to run? We're looking on one side and we're looking on another. These teams have the opportunity to switch, but I am more in favor of this dive compared to this very bunker composition. I don't expect Spongy Cheese to
I
walk out with a Bastion.
I don't think this is the comp we are going to see from Wisdom Academy. You never really know. They could pull out something absolutely insane. I do believe this is what Fortunate Sons is going to run, the Shadow Dive, and it looks like it's going to be essentially a mirror with the Tracer instead of the Reaper on the side of Wisdom.
And it switches up how these teams kind of want to play. Gives a bit of flanking as they move into the small room. They are looking for the first pick. Red Knight's going down dangerously low. He's having to be a bit more careful, so they back up. They're giving that space up to Wisdom Academy to be able to move a lot further. Red Knight's still inside this fight, especially with this Reaper, but he goes dangerously slow, jumps back. We see the hat go onto Rockstrap, but he's not getting much from it. However, they are being able to start taking over the point. They are dangerously low. Tiferfu is going to be picked off first, and that's a bit unfortunate. They don't have that Sombra, so now they're going to be moving into this fight kind of at a disadvantage. Now Red Knight gets picked. They've lost their tank. It's all up for the Reaper to try to bring it back. However, they're being pushed into a corner and they're not being able much. Emily is going to be picked off. Same with Intensifu, who did manage to get Spongy Cheese. By this point, it is way over.
And honestly, I'm a bit surprised. There's supposed to be a lot of pressure coming from Intensu. They're supposed to have more pressure onto Red Knight because of the Reaper just being able to stay there on the front line. But Red Knight got chunked down a lot at the start of the fight. And Spongy Cheese putting in a lot of work. He's already got the Pulse Bomb, and that's one ultimate that well. Touch doesn't want to waste his speed on. We're going to have to watch T-Fast, make sure that he can eat this ultimate as the fight looks like it's starting.
Yeah, look at that. The Pulse Bomb comes in, so they use the Sound Barrier to be able to enable themselves, but the EMP is there. It's able to hit for Spongy Cheese and Sgt. Pepper, able to go in on Emily and Intensifu. Same with the Diva Bomb. They're not going to be able to pop it out for a remix. While Red Knight goes down, they'll be going back inside the spawn room.
That was, well, I neglected to mention the EMP, which is one of the most important ultimates in the game. Touch engaged with the Sound Barrier, and while all that was happening, Sgt. Pepper decided, you know what, I'm going to build up EMP and completely remove that ultimate from the board. We've got 5 ults, though, on the side of Fortunate Sons coming into this fight, and 4 on the side of Wisdom. So this has got to be very scary.
It's all in usage. We see a Coalescent come out from Emily. So B-Batch uses the Primal Rage, going to be moving around. The EMP comes out, is able to hack. Not really many of them, they kind of miss. So we see the Diva Bomb come out, combined with the Sound Barrier. Doesn't really hit much, but the Death Blossom gets used on point. It's going to be hacked, but manages to find Gag. Rocktrap did get touched. They're getting in some values. Spongy Cheese just looking to even things up, and he's going to be picked out by T-Fat. So Titanic is there to DPS more, just trying to find things out. Does get Intensifu, and they're just looking to contest this point. But in the end, I don't really think there's much because he's going to be picked off.
But this is a really good stagger, and right now P-Box is jumping right back in. This is amazing. Emily's down, touch down. There's no supports right now on the side of Fortunate Sons. The bomb comes out, catches out Gag, and that's a re-engage coming in. This is a beautiful stall. Red Knight's forced to use Primal Rage, and oh no, Intensive goes down. This is not what you want to see. Fortunate Sons needed this cap about 10% earlier, and it's just tanks and a Sombra on the point. This is bad. You can't have the stagger.
Yeah, we see the EMP come back in. They are being able to bring this up to 99%, but it looks like Red Knight's finally back, going to be able to start cleaning up this fight. They managed to stall it out, they can, and that EMP, while it did help slow things down, in the end, it's not going to be helping them out much.
I don't think that was a good investment of the EMP there, mainly because the fight was already at 99%. You save that EMP, you engage, next fight EMP, a Coalescence, EMP, something. Well, there's nothing really for Fortunate Sons to do to counter that. But right now, Fortunate Sons, they were at an alt disadvantage, but now it's just going to be Coalescence versus Coalescence, and it's going to be very scary for Fortunate Sons, but at the same time, they can do it.
Yep, Emily and Titanic are going to meet her, but B-Patch gets picked off first. That's not going to allow Wisdom Academy to be able to move forward, but look at that. Look at the time pick. They are almost being able to get the back cap, so immediately Fortunate Sons are going to disengage, go hack Spongy, and pick him off.
But Touch gets taken down, but at the same time, if you're going to lose anybody on the side of Fortunate Sons, you want to lose that Lucio. They get back very quickly. Touch has almost got his beat, so he's perfectly fine with this. T4-2 does have the EMP, which is going to be a very quick engage here.
Yeah, but look at that. They get a big hack on Riot Knight, so he has to back up. T4-Food does get the EMP up, but he really only gets Titanic, so the Death Blossom comes in, but it's Pulse Bomb. He gets picked out. Spongy Cheese looking for these early picks. Red Knight does come in with the Primal Rage, just looking to even things up, but it's basically last fight. They have no opportunity to lose this. They're just doing their best to stall this out while Emily goes down, but B-Patch is going to be able to pick them up. The Sound Barrier comes in from Touch, from the high ground. They're looking to just even things up. However, Red Knight's not being able to find much, so the EMP comes out. It's able to find both of the tank line. Titanic is going to be found, but looks like Gag is able to to find T-Fest out with the boot, so she's able to melt down Red Knight, and they're looking to find out these DPS who are just looking on the point. Same with Touch, who's just consistently been there on the point, but when she's able to pick them up, Sgt. Pepper is found out by Tifafu, unfortunately enough. So B-Patch is there to manage to find out Touch, and the Moira looks like they're evened out, and they need somebody to touch.
T-Fest might be able to touch, but I doubt it. Oh, that stinks. That was
Yeah,
a very good EMP coming out there from Sgt. Pepper. Not only did it hit 4 members of Fortunate Sons, it also hit T-Fast as he was getting booped off the map, so he did not have the boosters get back on, and he had his bomb. He had effectively 1200 HP, and he was unable to do anything with it.
Yep, I definitely agree. It was a kind of a lot of struggling, I would say, when it came to Fortunate Sons trying to move in. Red Knight is such an aggressive player, and I don't know about you, but he was the one going down low the most often, but he was very patient, so he definitely wanted to move in. But the fact that they weren't able to play aggressive, especially when you have a Reaper, kind of was a lot of struggling.
I agree with that. Right now, we're going to see the TP out probably? No, I guess not. So the only difference is going to be the Kree versus Symmetra right here. This, I believe, favors Fortunate Sons.
Yeah, look at this. That Mei wall's gonna come out, not being able to split, but we see the charge coming in from Red Knight. Now they're looking for a quick brawl. B-Patch does get frozen, but the immortality is there to peel them out for a tiny bit. Sgt. Pepper, though, is gonna be picked up from the fire strike. Now they've lost their Mei. That gives room. Red Knight's gonna be flashed, but he's gonna be able to survive. He does get picked off. Now the favor, but B-Patch gets picked up by Intensitu. The charge from the beams are just being able to start melting people off, so Emily's gonna be able to find people, and it looks like Gag's just not gonna be able to escape.
And Sgt. Pepper was actually going to swap off the main now and go onto the Doomfist. Rockcrafts, potentially, no, he's not going to go on to Zarya. He's going to stay on the D.Va, even though Zarya Bub will help the Doomfist engage into this. At the same time, Doomfist Punch doesn't care about how long you've been charging up. It's a one-shot. It's going to be very powerful against Symmetra. Right now, we're just going to see 2 ults coming up here, and I love the way Fortunate Sons is looking on this brawl.
Look at them, they come in with the flash, but the shatter goes out, but Sgt. Pepper able to get the uppercut and manage to take out not only Tifafu, but Red Knight, so the wall comes in, same with the window, but the window's not going to be much valuable. The Doomfist and Sponges are just able to make so much space, shut down everyone, and it looks like those ultimates are going to be going out in vain.
That's very bad for Fortunate Sons. They did not scout out the right side properly. They had nobody watching out for the Doomfist. Sgt. Pepper made himself known by using a lot of abilities to get onto the right side, but nobody scouted him out, and that led to that teamfight loss.
Yep, so now when they go into this next fight, they're going to have to be a bit more prepared, but Red Knight, he dies early. That free shatter combined with the high noon doesn't really matter. If that point was captured by Fortunate Sons first, it looks like Wisdom Academy are going to be able to hold it for a lot longer.
That was a very quick team fight though, and there were 2 ults used on the side of Wisdom, so it could be a lot worse, but at the same time you don't want to lose that fight at all.
And now look, they're going to be rotating down to the lower side. The Doomfist goes in, and it seems they got stunned. The Blizzard gets eaten by Rockscript. That's absolutely insane. Now they have nothing to invest in. The D.Va Bomb comes in, same with the value, and it looks like it's able to find out Touch. Intensifu's turrets are the only things really helping out, and everyone who goes in that room ends up getting stuck. It's not over yet. As Spongy Cheese is able to get Red Knight. Now the D.Va Bomb coming in as the Mecha was slow is going out, but the Sound Barrier is there to help even things out. It looks like they have the supports alive, but I don't really see much of a DPS, and I'm really expecting to see how they try to stall this out, because we see the Doomfist come. Same with everyone else. Titanic is still alive to be able to help, and they have the window, but it looks like Sgt. Pepper's going to be picked out, so window comes in, hopefully to enable people. B-Pat doesn't have any healing. He's unfortunate, and it seems that they're just going to be capped off.
And that, once again, Red Knight actually made a huge play. Not only did he get a lot of value from staying alive there, he disengaged and re-engaged multiple times just to make sure that his team had the proper amount of support and the proper amount of strength from the main tank. That was a lot on him. Amazing eat from Rockcrafts on the T for 2. He's already halfway up to another Blizzard, though. And there's going to be double support ults. Gag doesn't have his because he used it on the recontest. So this is going to be very scary.
100% now. Look, they're waiting for the moment to strike. The shatter comes out, really only hits Rockcraft, so they use the sound barrier to let themselves walk in. But however, Spongy Cheese Designer is able to find out Touch. Now they've lost the speed boost. The window is there, so they LOS it, but the punch comes out. They manage to find out Sgt. Pepper. Titanic trades in by getting Intensifu, and Red Knight with his own wall. You remember, he is a DPS, so you must never underestimate it, but there are still people on the side of Fortunate Sons. Tifu is going to be picked up, same with Emily, and it looks like they're just going to be staggering themselves.
And at the start of the fight, with the amount of space that Fortunate Sons gave Wisdom, They kept the point. So this whole entire time, during that whole entire fight, that's, oh my god, that's beautiful. That's
That is
absolutely beautiful.
It was. We see not only the shatter come up, but the slam gets two people, and it doesn't even give them an opportunity because Lucio just barely misses the point. And Wisdom Academy, they're going to be winning Busan.
And I gotta say, uh, I think that one of the main things that I noticed from that whole entire round was that Wisdom Academy played more as a team. I gotta say. Wisdom Academy, they used their cooldowns much more effectively together. They were running a lower damage comp first round on Busan, but they were able to put a lot more pressure onto Red Knight. Maybe that was Red Knight just being over aggressive, but he was using his jumps to disengage. So I really don't know. That might have just genuinely been very, very good coordination on the side of Wisdom.
I also kind of want to say it looks like kind of Fortunate Sons, they're trying to adapt to each other. Maybe they haven't had enough time to practice with the people who they just brought in. But Red Knight, he wants to go in. He has the resources and ability to, but they're not really defined much. And the support line just seems too cautious to kind of help him out, and that leaves Wisdom Academy being able to run in. They're playing as a team, but they're playing in sync, and that's the issue for Fortunate Sons. Like you said, I really want to see them enabling Red Knight because he can get value, he can shut people down. But especially like on first point where they had a Reaper compared to Wisdom's Tracer, they could have been able to just walk in. They had everything available, but they were just a little too scared.
And I gotta say, on the first fight of Mecha Base, which favors the Mei Sim over the Mei Kree simply because you can teleport in, you can get a lot more space, a lot more map control, and you can control the tempo of the fights. First fight, they did amazing, they won the fight. But the second fight, Fortunate Sons, one of the most important things about playing against the Doomfist is knowing where he is at all times. I don't think there was one person on Fortunate Sons who did not hit tab during that time. So, Fortunate Sons hits tab, sees a Doomfist. They need to check and make sure that they know where the Doomfist is. If he's coming right side, then Fortunate Sons needs to be like, all right, we see him coming right side. And Fortunate Sons didn't do that. They let the Doom get a lot more value than he should have been able to. Especially because Rockrafts wasn't on the Zarya, he was on the Diva. There was no bubble engaging with the Doomfist. May freeze as Doomfist engages, a wall, an icicle to the head, a boop, something of the sort. There's nothing preventing the Doomfist from being CC'd. And at the same time, there was just so much value coming out. And that was one of the main reasons, on top of the teamwork that Wisdom Academy shown with the, I believe that was a bunny hop shatter or something of the, no, it was, well, Red Knight just got punched into oblivion, then the shatter, then the high noon. Once again, the Doomfist being a huge difference maker, especially with the amount of coordination that Wisdom Academy had shown on Mecha Base.
I told you we were gonna see some Doomfist, and that's what we saw. So going into next map, we have Eichenwald, and I love Eichenwald. It's one of my favorite escort maps. You know, it gives something. You know what I mean, hybrid. It gives something a little different. They're basically the same thing. You're moving a payload, and I love it so much because it's not King's Row, but it still feels like King's Row at time. And it also introduces Pharah playstyle. Hit scans aren't as good, and I feel like that may be an issue for both of these teams.
I gotta say, one thing that I have seen a lot of, and I've seen it in not only this league, but I've also seen it in Flux Cup, is the defensive Doomfist strategy. And I gotta say, I know the Doomfist rollout from the second point high ground, the castle, to the first point is something you see in comp at high level and see people feed. I've seen it done in games, and it works, especially if the other team is not expecting it. So Fortunate Sons is attacking, they get through the choke, and there's a 125 slam, 75 uppercut, two shots, punch out. That's first fight lost right there, and it can stagger from there. Will we see it? I don't know, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Doomfist come out again.
It'd be pretty funny because Fortunate Sons' brand is just about being in the army, so it'd be really funny because the call out would just be Doomfist is in the trees. I really wouldn't expect too much out of them. But we're gonna be seeing Wisdom Academy. They want to hold first. I really see them running a kind of double shield bunker. I think we talked about this beforehand, but Fortunate Sons, they've been practicing a lot of dive, but they don't seem so coordinated. I don't think they're gonna be able to break any type of bunker.
I don't think so either. At the same time, I think Red Knight was getting the better of the 1v1 against P-Bach, but the team behind P-Bach was allowing him to stay alive longer, even with the amount of focus that Fortunate Sons were putting on P-Bach. Red Knight, I believe, is the better main tank, as I've seen so far in this matchup, but Wisdom is the better team around P-Bach. So
Oh,
that could definitely, in a brawl matchup, be the decider.
I 100% agree. It's just something about Red Knight. He has the ego for it, and I feel like that's worth. The bigger the ego is, the better are you you are with when it comes to playing any type of main tank role. And B-Patch, they don't have it that much. So going into this map, look at this. We're gonna be seeing only we don't only really need to talk about the defense right now. And look at that. That is a bunker comp.
Gag has not chosen yet. Potentially Brig? Yeah, it's a Brig. Which, you know what? If you're expecting to play against a dive style comp, you're going to want a Brig, especially if you know that Titanic is going to be able to keep himself alive, potentially pressure out threats, because Titanic, once again, very good DPS. You hate to be staring him down in any way, shape, or form. We're going to see a typical dive composition. Wait, Gag's on the Lucio?
Yeah, we're good. Possibly for rotations.
Wait, actually, yeah. That's smart, especially with the lack of Sigma, the Roadhog being able to be sped around everywhere. That will lead to a lot of stuff being on the side of Wisdom Academy.
It almost feels like they're kind of planning to go against this dive composition. Look at that. T for Fu goes down so low while flying in, is being picked out, I think, by the Hanzo. So having to play a bit more carefully, but now they're looking to use that bubble to rotate, but Emily gets picked out first. That is not looking good, as Bungie Cheese finds out a Tetsu with the headshot. So Fortunate Sons, they need to retreat.
That is not the first pick you want going if you're Fortunate Sons. Oh no, T-Fast might get staggered here as well. Oh, that's very not good. T-Fast is going to have to jump off or swap or something of the sort, because this stagger it's a minute off the clock already. There's been 2 kills, both of them going to Spongy. He's going to have his dragons. And T for 2, well, he's halfway to copy, and that's the next closest person. Spongy Cheese 75 on dragons, T for 50% on copy. And this is a bit of a comp swamp. Red Knight is going over to the ball, and it's double aerial now with no hit scans against no hit scan's going to be able to pressure a lot of this out.
This might be an issue for Wisdom Academy. I mean, Spundy and Cheese, he's a good man. I think he can shoot a Pharaoh out of the sky, but look at all that burst damage coming in. They're immediately rotating to the back of the point. They can't hold as close as they wanted to, so they use the boost, and now they want to go after that D.Va. That D.Va can deny so much damage, especially with the DM, so look at that, they focus it down, but it looks like Titanic and B-Patch are going to be found out not only by the Echo, but the combination of the dive from Red Knight. The Dragons comes in, looking to split them off. Sergeant Pepper able to find Tifer, and now they're looking to find anyone else. Spongy Cheese able to find out T-Fast while the Pharah is in the air. The hook is going to be missed, so Spongy Cheese is going to be picked off. The Pharah is perfectly being pocketed. Now they use the sound barrier just to enable, but the barrage is there. They rotate.
Oh, no!
Deflect. It looks like Sergeant Peppers is the one popping out the deflect. I mean, popping out the barrage when it matters most, and Red Knight gets picked off, so the fight's over. And honestly, that's a bit of humiliation there.
That is extremely humiliating, because at the same time, first pick was Titanic. He had to use his immortality field to keep up rock crafts, and then that's the majority of the healing going down. Against a spam comp, you need your healing, you need your resources, and with Titanic down, that fight should have been a wrap. But Sergeant Pep, ooh, that's a huge anti.
It really is.
That right there, that should have been the fight for Fortunate Sons.
And now look, they're gonna pop the blade when we see Fortunate Sons dive in, and the copy. They managed to find out Emily with it and disengage. With the Pharah in the sky, tried to get the Mercy, but the Mercy's able to disengage. And now that copy is going to just not be the best right now. Red Knight even gets picked off from the point, and now they're just cleaning everything else out.
This is clinical on this side of This is clinical from the side of Wisdom. Even though they've made some mistakes, they're recovering. They're playing really well. They're using their ultimates perfectly in rotation. Sergeant Pepper right there. Amazing Dragon Blade. Something you see in Overwatch League. Well, Red Knight gets bursted down before the fight can even actually start.
Oh my, but Spongy Cheese gets traded, which using the high noon, but gets directed. Now the Pharah gets hooked out in the air, but they're not, they have the nano, they're perfectly fine. Rockstraps gets picked up, and you really don't want that Roadhog going down so early, so Titanic, he takes it in his hand, he finds the Pharah. Now the Mercy's gonna use the Valk, compared to the Bongo, may be able to heal out, because Sergeant Pepper is gone. The mines are gonna be placed on point, it enables the res to come out on the Pharah. Now they're looking to do their best to contest this point, but there's not much they can do. Spongy Cheese goes on to the McCree. The Pharah is gonna barrage, so Spongy Cheese picks them off, and the sound barrier lets them walk in. They don't have the res just yet, while the Lucio's the one contesting the point. They manage to sleep and kill Spongy Cheese while the Lucio is there on the point, but Rockstrap is able to find out Red Knight, the Roadhog, as return is gonna be able to do the majority of the damage. We see them try to look for that Ana, but they're just able to start running around. Rockstrap is gonna be slept. The Pharah is gonna be able to return from the fight, and they miss the hook. Rock Gag is gonna be picked up, while B-Patch is gonna be slamming onto the point and looking to find a target. The Immortality is there to enable Rockstrap as Sergeant Pepper is able to find out Emily. Now they're losing percentage of their supports. The bomb is coming out, and it is looking for someone, and they're going to be able to finally start getting a tick. However, Rockstrap is able to find out into the and touch. The blade comes out, same with the window. The ultimates are in favor of Wisdom Academy. Spongy is able to pick out Taserfu. The Dragon Blade may be gone, but there's only the tanks alive. They need to continuously stay on this point. They cannot get off for a second, but Red Knight is going to be picked off, same with T5. And oh my goodness, what a hold! As we see Fortunate Sons only get a tick, and the rest of Wisdom Academy, they must be feeling proud of themselves.
They must be feeling proud of themselves, but if I'm Fortunate Sons, I'm definitely not proud of that performance. You were up in a 4v1, 4v2 situation, and they're not punishing. Fortunate Sons is not punishing bad positioning at all with that comp. They really can't. They have the Echo being able to burn people down, but they have no people who do a lot of intense close range damage. So when the Hog from Rockcrafts is on the flank, when Spongy Cheese is on the flank, and then Tetsu is just burning people down from the front lines, spamming into chokes, spamming into shields, and Spongy Cheese is just like, you know what? I'm going to take my McCree, and Rockcraft's going to take his Roadhog, and we're going to absolutely roll you. Nobody can really punish that. And we see now the complete opposite look of Brawl comp that Red Knight's been practicing, apparently. And I'm curious to see how this will go against the double shield setup that, Wisdom Academy is going to be fielding.
Wish we saw a bit more of cohesion. Afara being damage boosted combined with Echo Stickies, I think that could do so much damage. And the shield from Marissa, it stays in one spot. You can move around. I think breaking into this brawl is pretty much impossible if they don't play near perfection, especially with that Lucio. They don't have much defense, but at least they can rotate around, you know?
True, and this is going to be a defensive style brawl. Red Knight's going to need to play very passive here because they don't have a Lucio. They can't control their engages or disengages as well as the double shield can, ironically.
And now look, we're going to be seeing they try to use the wall to block them out, but it seems they managed to get Rockstrap. I didn't see him inside of it. Same with the Immortality very early. Now they're going to be starting to back up. We see Fortunate Sons wants to stagger things, you know?
You know what? This is first fight, 30 seconds. Rockcrafts goes down. This is a good start for Fortunate One. Tetsu's mirroring Spongy Cheese, and he's already got approximately the same damage done that Spongy Cheese. Actually, he's doing more. This is insane. And Tetsu's gonna get a dragon during the second fight. Spongy Cheese goes down, and this is gonna be very scary. There's gonna be a dragon going into that room potentially. Oh no,
he gets picked off in the long run. We do see the Immortality enabling Wisdom Academy to be able to walk out, but it looks like Sergeant Pepper is gonna be picked off. But Rockstrap, he's looking to do his best. However, he gets frozen, and they are just struggling to stay alive right now.
Well, now, last round, once again, Rockcrafts was able to get away with a lot. He was able to flank, get away with this. Against Hanzo May, you can't. You take one step out of place, you get frozen, you get walled, you get Brig stunned, you get Hanzo's throw arrow to the face. And right now, there's 4 ults on the side of Fortunate Sons, and this is favoring them a lot.
Yeah, now they have the window to look for an opportunity, but the bag is able to hit a majority of them, and Spongy Cheese even uses the dragons. I mean, he is able to get 2, and that's going to take them a lot longer to come back. And the worst part is that Red Knight and Emily.
Well, Emily, Emily with the Baptiste, Reinhardt can charge back, but Emily used Wind of that fight. They went down. The fact that Sergeant Pepper went down early, and that's a beautiful pick from Intetsu. He stops the push solo-handedly. He kills the Lucio. You can't push in without a Lucio if you're a double shield comp that's focused around Orisa. You can't. It's it. That's the fight. Itetsu basically just saved Fortunate Sons a fight and potentially the point. Right now, though, there's going to be the Dragon Blade, there's going to be the Window, there's going to be the whole hog from Wisdom Academy. The bomb's getting thrown in very early.
And they want to use it to stagger them out, and looks like they are able to not only find Gag, but Spongy Cheese. Now Red Knight's just being able to start walking in. He finds Titanic and V-Patch. They build up ultimates, but comparably, they're not being able to do much. But almost a back cap. That was scary. I felt my heart drop when I saw the ticks.
I mean, it wasn't anywhere close enough for me to be scared recently, but at the same time, I got scared. I got scared. The Blizzard's coming out as well as the Dragon. But right now, TFAS isn't in mech, and they've got the Bongo, the Blade. Fortunate Sons, they're gonna have to go up against a barrage of ultimates. Not really, but well, a lot of ultimates.
Now look, they're committing inside the fight. The Blizzard gets used, but the Dragon Blade is able to get 3 with it. The Dragon's looking to do the best, but there's an immortality. Really only finds Rockcraft. My goodness, I felt woken up so quick. It looks like you really do only need 6 ultimates roughly. They didn't use that much, but it seems Wisdom Academy, they're going to be winning off of those ultimates for Eichenwald.
And I gotta say, that was a very good hold on the side of Fortunate Sons, but an even better one on the side of Wisdom Academy. Wisdom Academy, they knew their win condition. The only ult they used outside of Dragon Blade, that pull was immaculate. That pull was absolutely beautiful. But the only ult they ever used outside of that Bongo Window combo was that one single dragon on their attack. They knew exactly how to win that. They needed to win one fight cleanly. And that's what they did. If Fortunate Sons captured more, that would have gone a completely different way, because then you would have had to worry about ult rotations, winning multiple fights. But Wisdom Academy, they see them, they're like, no. Why do we need to work on ult rotations and focus on winning multiple fights when we only need to win one? And that Bongo pull, Window, Dragon Blade, and the beat on top of that, you Fortunate Sons had, well, a Blizzard, which is an amazing fight-winning ultimate, but at the same time, it cannot compare.
Yeah. Comparably to not only the amount of ult Wisdom Academy had, but the fact that they had immortality. Orisa has gold, so she was able to just walk away, or he, whatever you're referring to. I'm referring to the hero itself. And then the blade gets so much value because they don't have a defensive ult there. And I kind of wish they had the Lucio. I feel like it would have helped a lot more, but that's just something for Scrimbucks, you know? That's something you got to work on later, because now we're going to Gibraltar, and we're going to be seeing a substitution, Skylar for Thigh.
I think they just want to get Skylar some match time here, unless Skylar's their Ana player, because we're going to Gibraltar. And if anybody knows what Gibraltar is, it's got a lot of high ground, and it is known as the dive map. Back when Brawl was meta, you would still see a lot of dive on Gibraltar, and when dive is powerful, you're going to see a lot of dive. And I gotta agree with you to a point about the Lucio. I really love the idea of the beat at the same time. Would it have stopped all that damage?
I don't know. Yeah. We're not Bill 9, you know?
And the Brig was also very helpful with the rally. It also prevented a lot of what Sergeant Pepper was doing up until the very end. It also helped get rid of Rockcraft's Roadhog, which was terrorizing the backline during the attack from Fortunate Sons. And right now, I gotta say, I like Wisdom Academy's odds. Fortunate Sons, they looked decent on their dive, but Wisdom just looked more coordinated. So unless Fortunate Sons is going to flip a switch right now and change something, I really think Wisdom Academy might have a clean 3-0 right now.
I definitely agree. But I feel this is Red Knight's opportunity, you know. He's been practicing this monkey, and I feel this is the moment where his aggressiveness can finally start to show off, especially with dive. Comparably to the first map, it was a lot closer in, so I could see the issues with that, but I feel for Watchpoint Gibraltar, you can play a bit more patient. You can enable Red Knight to take his time.
I agree with that for sure. And I'm actually going to quote something I believe it was Peripheral said, and it is, wait for it, W key, head empty. And that is what Red Knight does a lot of the time. However, here, he's going to be, I dare say, he's going to need to MTD P-Bach very, very much to have, well, to stand a chance in this. Honestly, Itetsu has been putting up a very good showing on the Hanzo. I gotta say, Itetsu versus Spongy Cheese, them two are canceling each other out. Sergeant Pepper T for 2. Sergeant Pepper's getting a bit of the upper hand. P-Back, Red Knight. Red Knight needs to win this. He needs to. Because the rest of it is, well, the rest of it, I really can't tell you. T-Fast Rockcrafts. Rockcrafts was getting a lot more value on the Roadhog. Because D.Va can't really do much against the Roadhog in that scenario, and we are going in.
Yeah. And I remember kind of initially being worried, but about kind of intense versus a Spongy Cheese who's just come back from a vacation and who was ready. But honestly, I think I was overestimating Spongy Cheese. He just gets rated so high, it kind of blinds the idea that he is just a player, and anyone can match him. And Tetsu did the best he could at times, and at most, I would say he pretty much challenged Spongy Cheese to the hardest he ever could. So when going into this map, I really don't expect too much to come out of them besides from just popping off. That's really the goal they need right now.
I agree with that for sure. Double bubble potentially coming out from the side of Fortunate Sons. We have no idea whether that's not going to be true or not. But Skylar is going to be on the Ana as we expected. Spongy Cheese on the Ashe. This is going to be very, very important for the supports of Fortunate Sons, for the DPS, that they do not peek the Ashe. Last week against Geo, they did peek the Ashe multiple times, and it led to them fighting very, very close matches when it should have been a lot, well, not as close. And we're going to see the SimTP going out to the high ground at the very start just to get these supports on a level ground, per se.
Yeah, let's get a shout out to Guacamole as we see them now engaging in. Red Knight's not going to use the TP, but just jump on to ignore that. And now they're all fighting on the high ground. Red Knight's going to be jumping inside the backline. B-Patch is going to be taking a considerable amount of damage. However, Red Knight was blocked by the bubble, so he's not going to get much healing. Sergeant Pepper's going to be the one to be taken out by Intensive. However, Spongy Cheese is going to even that up and pretty much help secure the fight.
And that was a beautiful purple from Scholar. He's already 70% on that Nano compared to Emily's 50%. The Nano is the most important ultimate. Well, not the most important, but it's one of the most important ultimates in this mirror matchup, because without that Nano, you're not going to get a lot done as the monkey diving into mirror comps.
Now we see them trying to go back in. Red Knight immediately jumps in. However, he's able to kind of back out. It's the beauty of Devil Bubble. So he just goes in, but then gets booped off by Rockstrap. They decide to go high ground. They force everyone off the bridge, and they're just looking for a simple pick. Looks like B-Patch wants to try to find somebody, but he has to disengage so dangerously low and split off from the support, so he gets found out by T for 2. Now Red Knight has the opportunity to start walking in on people if he chooses to.
And that's what he's going to have to do. He's taking high ground away from Spongy Cheese. He gets booped away by the Rig, but at the same time, he's okay with this. Kurt should be pushed right here, but right now, that's going to be the Nano, and he's going to engage. That Brig should not live that long.
Yeah, even the High Noon gets used. However, Intensu is going to be picked off, so Sergeant Pepper has to be traded to make things even. The Nano did force people off high ground, but B-Patch is back and is able to start diving in. Combined with the Rockstrap Diva Bomb, it forces people back, and Emily gets found out by it. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused because Rockstrap's inside the backline, so I didn't really expect Emily to kind of peek it out a bit. So now they just lose that fight, and at least they just can kind of reset.
That's... You can't lose the Ana. Once again, that's the only point of the Ana. And this fight's going to be continuing for whatever reason. Rally's going to be invested from touch. That's going to be a huge purple onto not only him, but T-Fast in this fight. That Rally should not have been invested there. There's going to be 4 ults coming up on the side of Wisdom Academy. The Grav on the side of Fortunate Sons, the Pulse Bomb as well potentially, but that's going to be it. And Tetsu looks like he's going to be swapping off the McCree here to something else. Is it going to be the Hanzo? It's going to be the Ashe to mirror Spongy Cheese.
Yeah, he kind of wants to fight against it. Right now, I am a bit worried. They do have the Graviton Surge, but Rockcraft has shown to be able to eat them. So let's see how he does. The bomb comes out inside the small room. It is going to be slept. However, the anti is going to be hitting B-Patch, so has to use the promo range. Spongy Cheese, however, is going to be able to stop this fight really quickly by finding not only Intensu, but Emily with the dynamite.
And this once again is a very good defense from the side of Wisdom Academy. There was no win condition committed on the side of Fortunate Sons, which is really good. There were 2 ults used on the side, and that's a beautiful headshot on the Sergeant Pepper. That's going to open T for 2 to make sure that he doesn't get stuck in the 1v1 battle.
Yeah, now we're going to be seeing them try to take over this high ground, especially with no Tracer poking them. Touch does get antied, goes down low by B-Patch, so they're relying on this Graviton Surge to try to win this out, but Emily's a little low. B-Patch does get antied, so he's going to be taken out really quickly. Same with Sponge and Cheese. It's now a bit unfavorable. The Graviton Surge is getting used just to pick people off, but the pulse bomb was placed on the Red Knight. He didn't notice, so Tifa ends up walking into him, and Sergeant Pepper, he gets the 4K. Rockcraft gets the nano, and that was so close to being beautiful, but one small mistake is costing them the rest.
That grab was absolutely beautiful, but the beautiful stick, once again, from Sergeant Pepper. He was taken out earlier in the fight. He comes back and says, I know you guys miss me. You miss me? Yeah, you miss me. I'm going to prove that I am not out of the fight just yet. This Primal's coming out right now from Red Knight. He's got it. Touch though. The Diva Bomb coming right.
Oh, yeah.
Emily takes out Spongy Cheese though. And Rockcraft is going to be dueling in the back.
Yeah, nobody's able to touch. We're seeing Intensu just looking to do his best. He's making those values in. And everyone else on Wisdom Academy, they're kind of making mistakes now in the overtime phase. So Rockcraft is going to die, and there's not much they can do.
I gotta say, I'm very surprised that Fortunate Sons won that fight. That wasn't clean at all. They got the first pick that they needed, but at the same time, Wisdom, I think, had more ults going into it. And right now, there's gotta be, there has to be.
Yeah.
There has 100% gotta be an engage here now. Nano on the rig? Yes, there we go.
Yep, they're not walking in. They're going to be nano but anti at the same time. Gag is going to be picked off, but the break is looking to find people. Spongy's able to find out Intensu. While B-Batch is primarily inside of them, it's a little funny because he's trying to find much, but there's so much healing and peel. They're perfectly fine now where Rocktrap is on the point and they're denying anyone from moving. So now one side is trapped and one side is trying to push this payload.
The sleep does go into P-Bok though, and he's booped off the high ground. However, Red Knight is out of the fight now. He's taken out, and the supports are just in here 1v. They're not gonna get out. They shouldn't get out. That's amazing peel coming in from T-Fast, but there's Touch doesn't stand a chance there.
Yeah, look at this. Now they're just re-engaging back in. Sergeant Pepper's going to be found out by Emily. Sergeant Pepper's going to find out Emily, and everyone else is going to be starting to escape. But that was such a long fight that I didn't even know when it was ending because the supports were just staggering themselves in that small room.
They couldn't get out. They could not disengage. Spongy Cheese was taking out Intensu. T42 can't challenge him because in order to do that, he has to go on top. The Pulse Bomb does get thrown out at the start of this fight, so that means T42 is going to have a free one without having to worry about Sergeant Pepper having to mark him with his own Pulse Bomb. Right now, Skylar has the nano. Emily doesn't. That's going to be very important for Red Knight.
Even worse, because Emily gets antied a bit, and Red Knight got slept. The Diva Bomb's going to come out so T-Fest can try to come back, so it looks like Skylar instead is going to be the Ana going down. Rocktrap throwing out that Diva Bomb, however, we see they use her rally not only to enable themselves, but they use the shield to block it out. The Pulse Bomb's going to come, but not really find much. Red Knight does have the primal range, and they're building up the ultimates. We're going to see the Nano Boost go out onto the Monkey. He's looking for those picks, and he's blocking out Rocktrap from doing much. We do know Sweaty's coming back with the Bob, so he's going to pop it out while the supports are looking to help out. Red Knight's going to be jumping inside the back line. He's looking to primal, and he's looking to find a target. Tifa is able to find out Sergeant Pepper. And so yeah, the nano brick, but the anti also hits, and they're going to be able to take out Gag. So many mistakes kind of falling out because Bob is able to finally come out from Spongy Cheese, but he's also picked off. There's no one really to contest that point besides from really 3 people on the high ground. Now we're in overtime, and we see V-Patch starting to run back in, but he's already picked out the moment he steps. Sergeant Pepper trying to make something happen, 1v1ing against the brick, but that's what she was designed for, and the rest of Wisdom Academy are going to be starting to be picked off.
That fight went so long. There were so many mistakes from Wisdom Academy, and while Fortunate Sons didn't play it perfectly, they played it a lot better. Peabot got antied multiple times. The Nano went onto a purpled gag as he was rallying. You know what? Nano the break, I don't mind. Just don't do it as they're purple, because one of the most important things about a break is her self-sustain. And without being able to sustain herself, well, she's not something that good. And Tetsu gets taken out by Spongy Cheese.
Ooh, and they immediately find the pulse bomb to get touched. They're just moving in. They want to find an early start and the engage because it's less than a minute. I'm pretty sure these players are so frustrated right now.
I agree with that, and Red Knight cannot get taken out here. Emily needs to charge up his Nano off this. And luckily he is. The pulse bomb once again from T for 2, and Tetsu's gonna have the bomb. T-Fast's gonna have the bomb and the rally Nano. This is 5 ults. This needs to be a 1T fight. That purple's absolutely huge, but there's going to be no engage onto it. They're way too far back for there to be any engage from the whole entire team. Red Knight has got to be pushing people off his high ground. He knows this. He's waiting for the Nano. He doesn't get it. He gets away.
Yeah, he's gonna walk in. That Diva Bomb's gonna go far out and not find much. So both support ults are being enabled. We see Rockstrap throwing out the bomb. However, it's gonna be blocked out by Touch. Spongy is gonna be picked off by Rockstrap. Same with B-Patch. That's a bit unfortunate. Their supports are looking to do their best, but it looks like not only does the tanks are looking to find them, but the rest of everyone on the low ground are being able to pick people off. Red Knight still has that Primal Rage. They're using that rally just to be able to support out Skylar, but look at Gag, so barely living on the edge. We're gonna be seeing that bomb come out, and it almost goes off the point, but they're perfectly fine. B-Patch is able to find out Emily. Now they're being forced to fight on point. Skylar does find T-Fast, and Spongy Cheese is able to find out Touch on that Reaper to get a lot of damage in. The Pulse Bomb combined is going to be bursting down Red Knight. The only person left is the Tracer. Same with the Ash, and there's not much they can do, as they're just going to be slowly melted down, and there's no one who's going to be able to touch. It seemed Wisdom Academy being able to find a lucky start and hold this on the 3rd point.
Well, I wouldn't call it a lucky start, but I know what you mean. That, I gotta say, one of the most important parts of that fight was the fact that A, T-Fast got demeched, that's one tank gone, and while Red Knight was Primal Raging in the back line, right after Gag popped Rally, both Skylar and Gag were right next to the coast, and Skylar hit a sleep that completely took Red Knight out of the fight. In the dive mirror, if your support line is A, safe, and the enemy tanks are both out of the fight, that should be a win more often than not. And that's exactly what happened. T-Fast, no mech. Red Knight was asleep in the backline at a spot where he could easily get punished once Primal was over, and that led P-Bach, Rockcrafts, and the DPS of Wisdom Academy to go ham and do exactly what they needed to. Of course, that doesn't mean, oh, a tank's demech, then tank's asleep, that's a one-team fight, it's free. No, Wisdom had to play that well. And they did. They played that very well, but at the same time, you can't let that happen. T-Fast needs to be eating those antis and making sure he doesn't get demeched as much as he has been. The grabs have been beautiful, the bombs have been nice, but right now, Rockcrafts is putting up a better show.
I can kind of understand that. So when coming out, there's now a sizable win condition. So we're going to be seeing the TP come out. They don't take it on the bridge. They want to take it on the other side, give them a moment to breathe. And now it's just all about setup.
This setup is going to be very important because Spongy Cheese wants to one-clip at Tetsu. He can't do that. But now there's going to be the Echo coming in who's going to be able to beam anybody down that Spongy gets a half health. And this is a disengage right now on the side of Fortunate Sons. If Tetsu's down, so is Spongy Cheese. It's a 1-for-1 trade, both the DPS, and right now, Emily has to be healing up their tanks, because without the tanks, as I said earlier, it's going to be very tough for anybody to get anything done.
I definitely agree. Even though they're down a few, it seems they still kind of want to take their space. The bubble gets used, but they basically just have to back up and wait their time. However, I'm more confused on Fortunate Sons just wanting to play a bit more back, maybe just waiting to be stacked as they continue back into this fight. We're going to be seeing Red Knight go onto the high ground. It's a war for it, as B-Patch is just looking to do his best to be able to start moving in. They are going to end up giving it up. They want to try to find out the support spot. It looks like Red Knight and his support, and his tank,
Point.
T-Fast are looking for the res. Over the point, almost gets C9. B-Patch is going to be picked off, and now they're forced to be able to touch it. We see them just try to do their best. They are panicking right now, as the rest of Wisdom Academy didn't really have a plan against it. They look like they really just want to see C9. It's only 5 meters away. The moment that T-Fast gets off it, they're not going to be able to do much. However, Red Knight is far inside their backline, being able to find out Gag. They use the Nano Boost just to ensure they can do some bit of extra damage, and the rest of Wisdom Academy are now wanting to back out.
Well, Red Knight does have to engage the Primal to make sure that he stays alive. He's also looking for picks right now in P-Bach. He's not going to get anything there. And I gotta say, the reason why Fortunate Son dropped back is because it looked like they wanted their supports on the high ground. They can't, if you're playing low ground, the Monkey can engage onto them a lot easier. But if you have to engage onto the high ground as P-Bach, you're going to get whip shot, you're going to get slept, you're going to get coach gunned away. And I gotta say, that's a very good rotation on the side of Fortunate Sons.
They want to take the high ground. They have an opportunity. They have some ultimates. Red Knight's going to be diving in, placing that bubble beautifully and stopping anyone from helping out. The Bob gets placed, but the Nano is there. Gag gets traded. So while they're trying to dive in, the Rad's going to be there to be able to peel out touch in any type of sticky situation. Wisdom Academy, they're somewhat slipping, maybe even doing a bit of trolling.
Well, like I said, you saw P-Bach jump in with the Nano. What happened? He got booped away by the coach gun, and he got booped away by the whip shot. That's one of the plus of the bubbles. You don't get, that doesn't happen to you if you're bubbled. You don't get slept, you don't get all that stuff, all that CC doesn't hit you. But with the Diva, all that CC hits you. However, there's 5 ults right now on the side of Wisdom. They need to win this next fight. If they don't, that's lights out. Emily's not going to have the Nano. This is going to be very, very scary for Fortunate Sons.
Seems they use that rally early. They want to stop anyone from pushing in. That bomb's going straight onto the high ground, and it finds Intensu just barely in the corner. So now the tank has to go in, has to peel for the supports, but the copy, Sergeant Pepper, is able to find. He builds up a copy. Diva Bomb's going to be able to pop it out. Now they're engaging onto the high ground. They're putting so much pressure in that touch isn't going to be able to survive. Now another Diva Bomb's going to be placed onto the point. However, it's going to be from T-Faz not being able to find much, while Sergeant Pepper's able to find out the support line. Now we see Red Knight just looking to primal range. T-Faz Mech going down dangerously low. It's going to be D-Mech, and Red Knight's just doing his best to disperse people. He wants to give time for his supports to come back and for the rest of his team to help him. However, him and Tifer are going to be found out. Now we see the rest of Fortunate Sons doing their best, especially that break touch, just trying to do much that they can on the point. However, it's not going to be much staggering. They're just trying to waste more of that time bank, but in the end, Wisdom Academy are going to be able to find it.
Wisdom Academy had 5 ultimates. They used 4 of them right there. And, well, at that point, it's just an ultimate game. A game of ultimates. Could Wisdom Academy have lost that fight? Yes, of course. Could Fortunate Sons have lost that fight? And that's an absolutely brutal stagger onto T-Fast right there. That's going to be half of second point that's going to have to be gifted to them simply because T-Fast is down. He can't retake high ground. Red Knight's engaging onto high ground all by himself, basically.
On the bright side, they managed to find out Sergeant Pepper. They lose that Echo. She may be able to be coming back faster, but it doesn't matter because this fight is happening now. We even see B-Patch just starting to put himself down in unfavorable position so he can invest that Primal and look to place people off. So Red Knight's just going to ignore and go after everyone on the bridge. We see him diving down. They look for that Nano to pop out, and they're going to place it on the Monkey while he's Primal Rage, but he's going to be immediately out. The Diva Bomb rallied also combined, but it looks like that bomb isn't going to be able to find much. The Bob does get slept inside the backline, but now they're touching that point. They're being able to contest. Sergeant Pepper gets picked out by the Bob, but he's gone now, and we see Red Knight just being able to push in. Spongy does manage to find out Taferfield while Rockstrap is inside their backline. Instu able to find out B-Pad. Rockstrap able to trade in with that touch. They still are being able to contest this point. There's not much going in, and Gag is just being poked at every angle. It's so unfavorable. Spongy's made find Intensu, but Red Knight's able to find out Gag, and they've lost that fight solely just because they're taking their time and they're not working together.
Well, I gotta say right now, Fortunate Sons, they're fine with how long this is taking. Red Knight did have to invest the Primal there. T-Fast does have the bomb. Touches off of the break now onto the Merce. Spongy Cheese gets taken out by T-Fast.
That's a bit unfortunate, but the fight still he finds the Ana, throws the anti, really only hits Emily, but that's not what you want. Somehow still finds it, but the copy is not going to be gone. Now they're pushing in. That mech's going down dangerously low, but same with Red Knight. The remake bomb is coming out. Doesn't find anything, but it's just to be able to get back into the fight. B-Patch able to find out T for 2 as we see them setting up. Sergeant Pepper getting traded out. Gag finally able to find out Red Knight, who is peskily inside the back line. Same with Touch, who just came out to say hi and is going down. down. The bomb rebuilt incredibly fast, but the rally's going to be there not only to secure them, but to enable them to move in. The nanos from both sides being used. Bit of an overinvestment coming up from Wisdom Academy, just needing to use everything to be able to win this fight. While we see the pulse bomb hit Red Knight, he's still inside of his bubble perfectly fine. Now retreating, but the Mercy's there trying to res it out, but it's going to be immediately booped and stopped from being able to do it. Look how much time they wasted.
That's I gotta say, I'm not sure that that's the best choice of ultimates for the side of Wisdom Academy. The rally, sure, use that to engage and stay alive. Fortunate Son used a lot there though. They used the nano, they used the bomb, they used the pulse bomb, they used the bomb just to recontest. And if there was one more ult on the side of Wisdom, I'd say this is a lock.
Now they want to take this fight, once again, super early. Seems Wisdom Academy just loves doing this. As they try to force out Red Knight from diving any form of their target, they now meet at the corner and they're looking for an opportunity. B-Patch does get hit by the dynamite and he gets picked out early before he can pop it. We see the Diva Bomb go out looking to make that space, but the Primal Rage is coming and they're looking to finish off Rockstrap. Spongy Cheese does manage to find out Intensu and Rockstrap is being juggled in the corner. Spongy Cheese is able to use the Pulse Bomb, but there is a pause. I think we saw a DC. We may have just gotten a DC. This is not good. I really hope it's possibly being rock trash right now. It is, and that's not good.
But at the same time, if there's anybody that you want to DC, it's the person that is dead and the person that just used their ult. So Rockcraft's just used bomb, got next to nothing out of it. He got taken out immediately after, and then the game paused. He had 1% on his bomb. That's, you know what? If there's anybody you want to lose, it's somebody that's already dead. Actually, wait, this is going to help Wisdom. This is going to help Wisdom because Rockcraft is going to be able to come back into the fight immediately. He's not going to have to wait for the respawn timer anymore. He died, and he's going to have 9 more seconds of effective gameplay than he would have otherwise. P-Bach is also going to be coming back on the Monkey with the Primal Rage. Sergeant Pepper and Spongy Cheese are in the backline as well, right on top of Red Knight. Red Knight just used Primal. T-Fast is coming back to peel. And this is looking scary, mainly because I can't go to see if there's any supports able to heal Sergeant Pepper or Spongy Cheese. So I believe Skylar's just coming out of spawn. Gag's not in position to help either two out. So Sergeant Pepper, if he doesn't have flight, he will get taken out here. Plus, I believe Emily's on the high ground as well, able to heal Red Knight from a distance and T-Fast from a distance, potentially drop an ante. I gotta say, how many antes has Emily been hitting? Because I haven't seen many.
Yeah, Emily hasn't had the opportunity to kind of do it. They've been moving around too much, or at least playing so far back that they're not really to hit most antes. They're primarily using it, I think, to hit it on a gag or when B-Patch is really close in, and it's very unfortunate. So when it comes to this next fight, I want to see them hitting more. They may have lost touch, and I do agree, Rockstrap is going to be able to come back much faster, but they're still in this fight.
And I don't think it's a problem of not hitting them. I think that Emily's simply not going for those aggressive antis. And with no Zarya bubble to cleanse at all, the antis are very important. You land an anti on Gag and Skylar. Well, actually, that's a lie. The only time I did see an anti hit was when Skylar used the nano onto Gag. Other than that, I've seen antis not hit who they're aiming for. And that's a huge part of Emily's kit. If you can deny healing from a backline that is going to be consistently being pressured, that's it. That's the fight. But with those resources and being able to be healed, there's going to be a lot more value gained simply from Emily not hitting E at the right time.
I definitely see that. But let's talk about this next fight that's happening, because Rockstrap is coming in a second. So they're relying not only on that Primal Rage, because the Monkey has to come back into the fight, but they have no ultimate. So not only does Skylar need to build up this nano boost, but we need to be seeing kind of more out of the rest of the team. Spongy Cheese can carry this as far as he can, but there's only so much you can do.
And Sergeant Pepper, too, is in the back line. He is going to get taken out unless Skylar is there. Spongy Cheese, he's going to be dueling Red Knight, and Sergeant Pepper is also going to be pumping in a lot of damage. But T-Fast is coming back to protect. If he eats a clip from Spongy and some damage and the stickies from Sergeant, this is going to be very good for Fortunate Sons.
Yeah, moving in, we see Sergeant Pepper immediately retreat. Rocktrap's picking his character, going back. Tetsufu also switching on to the McCree. Now they're moving in. It's a slow sample. The momentum is starting to slow down, but it's 30 seconds left on the clock. They managed to find Team Peru and Emily. That's not good. Sergeant Pepper does get traded out in the end. However, B-Patch has the permanent rage, is able to enable himself. That Devon being placed inside of the backline. And Skylar was a bit too close to it. He thought he could hide, and that's going to cost them. Touch does get picked up. Same with the 10-2, and the rest of them are inside the back and front. They need to touch. We're going to be seeing T-Fest come in. The Nano Boost manages to hit Red Knight, and he's going to be on to Rocktrap, managing to find him out. The rally is there as the only form of support healing they're going to be getting. The Pulse Bomb's going to go out while B-Patch is on it, but the copy's now there, able to bring it back and look to get that monkey in. While Red Knight is on the point, they're starting to get more staggers in, and there's basically the entirety, besides from the Diva, on the point. Now the Nano Boost placed on there, trying to find out Red Knight, who's just moving around inside their backline perfectly free. Nothing to worry about while Touch is going down dangerously low. Red Knight still touching that point as the rest of them, Sergeant Pepper, able to find out, and 10-2 and the Pulse Bomb combined is going to be able to hit that Diva, get the mech down to half. Red Knight's being able to build up that Primal Rage to give him some more time to be able to touch, but they need to hold this. This may be the last opportunity that they have, but the end is gone. They just couldn't find a pick as Wisdom Academy being able to 3-0 Fortunate Sons, and I don't want to say it, but I told you so.
You said a 3-1, first of all. Second of all, I Fortunate Sons, their coordination wasn't as well. If we're just going to look at this, it's, first of all, if you guys can see play the game, it's absolutely absurd. Sergeant Pepper and Spongy Cheese put up an absolutely beautiful showing today, but the communication and the coordination on the side of Fortunate Sons wasn't up to par. The McCree pick at the very end should have been the nail in the coffin on the side of Wisdom. They have the Echo, they have the Tracer, both of which can be pummeled by the McCree. But there was, realistically, it was just a Mercy and a Cree together, which, well, while they're pocketed, it's a 2v2, and it's relying on one person to duel two people at the same time. It's not going to go well, especially with somebody with such as funky of a hitbox as Tracer. Plus an Echo, which, you're 120 health. Well, now you're 110, and oops, you're 50%, now you're dead. So very, very clean play from Wisdom Academy to get Fortunate Sons, well, to 3-0 Fortunate Sons.
Yeah, I want to give a lot of love to Fortunate Sons, though. I feel as the map continued, they progressively played a lot better. Especially on Gibraltar, they look great. I think the pause may have had a kind of momentum killer. That's a bit unfortunate. But in the end, it kind of hurt them. So give us a second as we get ready to bring in the interview, unless you have more to talk about.
I got a few more things to mention. There just wasn't enough punishment. One thing that I can say for the whole entire game for Fortunate Sons, if you're watching this, for Wisdom, if you're also watching this, I don't know if you can see me right now, but Fortunate Sons was not punishing a lot of overextensions from Wisdom Academy. Sergeant Pepper, Spongy Cheese were constantly in the backline. Peabok was continuing to jump in hard engage onto Fortunate Sons. Rockcrafts was continuing to flank. There were a lot of times where people went out of position on Wisdom Academy, taking many flanks that they 100% could have been punished for, and just weren't for whatever reason, simply because, A, the comp didn't allow it, which is understandable. If you don't have a comp that can punish flanks, that's one thing. You can't do anything to stop that. If you have a comp that can punish flankers, like on Eichenwald, they did that really well. But on Mecha Base, I'm going to continue hammering this home. On Mecha Base, on downtown, there were multiple times where Spongy would just go around into the backline, walk around in a comp where, Moira Lucio isn't supposed to be picked off by a Tracer when everybody's playing together. The tips say, well, if you're going to play against Tracer, try to stick together. And that's exactly what Fortunate Sons was doing, but Wisdom Academy was just getting away with, well, murder. Let's call it that. Wisdom Academy just throwing a lot of stuff at Fortunate Sons. Fortunate Sons not really punishing it. Whether it was lack of antis, boops, cleanses, at the very end, you need that break. You need the break. The monkey was just able to jump in uncontested multiple times from Fortunate Sons. And while, yeah, the Mercy might have been a comfort pick or something of the sort, I really would have enjoyed continuing to see the Brig there because it provided them a lot of utility throughout the fights, a lot of saving graces. Oh, my monkey's low. I'm just going to triple pack it. My Honest low. I'm going to triple pack her, shield bash, whip shot, and that Tracer is now currently disengaging. With the Mercy, you're not able to do as much, especially with an Echo in the skies that can hunt you down.
I definitely agree, but are you ready? We're going to be bringing in Sergeant Pepper for the interview. Mr. Sergeant Pepper, how are you doing today after this victory?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling great. It's a great win. Team effort, you know. Everybody's really feeling great.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Now we got a couple of questions for you. First of which, how do you feel like well, this is personally one that I want to know. How do you feel like you did communicating with Spongy Cheese and, well, pairing up with him? We saw a lot on those dives that you and him would both be engaging onto the same target. Was that something that just happened because last week Spongy Cheese was out? And do you think that's something that you guys just kind of clicked today on this match, or is it something that you have been practicing for a long time with him?
Yeah, so it's not spongy cheese in particular, but just last week we were missing a bunch of starting players and we didn't really have good practice, so our comms suffered, and we've been working on comms since the start of the season, so it's just naturally going to get better. I think Peabok, shout out to Peabok, he's become crazy vocal in comms. He's awesome. Thai's doing a lot of calling. He's awesome. Honestly, everybody's just firing on all cylinders right now, and we're feeling great.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Intel, you got any questions?
Well, I guess my main question is that going forward, I'm hoping that you guys consistently have kind of your roster being able to work against it. But it's going to be maybe 2 weeks or so. Haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't know exactly. But when you go up against Rio, what are your expectations, or what at least do you want? Kind of the message to send to them as the team that, at least right now, is undefeated.
When we go up against Rio with our full team, we're going to full sweep.
And I do want to add, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but right now Rio is up 2-1. So Geometric did take a map.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super surprised. We've been scrimming Geo. Geo's been playing a lot better than in the first game, to be honest. They actually have their starting main tank in Puffer. He's looking a lot better than Peripheral did. And I think people are overrating Rio, to be honest. I think they're exploitable. I think the only reason we did so poorly in our game was because we didn't play our game.
That makes sense. I agree with that for sure. What was your main thing that you think brought the victory home for you guys?
I mean, we were angry. We wanted the win. We're feeling that championship run coming, and I don't know. Like, we're just working great together. We're all working hard for the win. For the rest of the season, look out for us because we're coming for the gold.
Mm. I'm really hoping to see you guys continue on, but I don't really have any further questions. Do you, Mr. Golden Pants?
I am perfectly fine. I am sated. This was amazing gameplay from both sides, and I'm satisfied.
Yep. Well, do you have anything left to say, Mr. Sergeant Pepper, for the people listening in?
Yeah, red is a feeder.
100% true. Always remember you can spam that in your general chat, but you're free to go. Go relax. Go have some fun. But Golden Pants, I think this is about the end for us. What are your lasting comments, kind of perspective onto this game?
I gotta say, as much as we talked about how much we want to see specific DPS, I think that we underrated Sergeant Pepper because while Spongy Cheese was held a bit back at the very end, we never really talked about Sergeant Pepper, and he had a large impact on today's game. If you watched any of it, who was the person who got the 5K bongo blade? That was Sergeant. The person who continually set stuff up to make sure that Spongy got the space that he needed, Sergeant. And that is one of the most important things, especially in dives. Sometimes it's not always the main tank that gets the kills. They're setting it up for the kills. And, well, Sargent and Spongy both traded that role today, and they worked very well on it.
All I'm really gonna say is that people shouldn't have called my tier list Papega. I'm feeling that it's working really hard right now. But either way, if you enjoyed what you saw, Mr. Moo Moo Guy is going to make sure to be able to stream a couple more games in the future. So you can always hit that heart. You can hit a sub. I saw a couple thanks Corbs supporting our community. Either way, I'm username underscore Intel. That's Golden Page. You can check us out on our Twitters. Make sure to follow League Zero on the Twitter. But we'll see you next time.
See you guys around.